Welcome to the Language of Markets live session. I got that right? Okay, good. It is Wednesday, the 22nd of May. I'm glad I got the name right. I think everything's working. I want to thank everybody right off the bat for your patience and explain a little bit about what we're doing, and then we'll get to work. So I got a lot of touching emails from people, and I just wanted to acknowledge that right off the bat because although I knew it, it was really surprising that, this is more than just some faceless thing with, subscribers and getting them in and out, right? It is quite a family and it is quite a community. And there were some very touching emails and it's very heartfelt. So I appreciate that. So we have been creating a lot of things here. Yeah, it was kind of beautiful actually. And so you guys that are here are the ones who contacted me saying you wanted to be in. So that's cool. So that's our start. Other people will probably trickle in. A lot of people watch those recordings on some kind of delay. So I was getting emails even up to this morning. But here's how it's going to work so far. We don't have the website up and ready yet. I got Grace, we got Edward, even Gary's helping out. A lot of very nice people helping out with the website, and I appreciate you guys to no end. But we're not going to rush it and get a whole bunch of membership things up and backwards. So we're looking to get the website up soon. What we're going to do in the meantime, at least for the next few days, is we'll keep things a bit light. We're going to have Monday off because it's a holiday. And so you'll use this link. Don't worry about payment right now. No big deal. You guys pretty much, we're booked over at the other place for a month anyway, so don't worry about payment right now. When we get the membership part of the site up and working, then you can register and then you can pay, and then we'll go from there. So in the meantime, we'll use this link and it'll be recorded, and afterwards, I'll email everybody a link to the recording. And so you'll be able to watch it. And it should be downloadable. I'm going to try and keep all of these sessions downloadable. So if you want them for whatever crazy reason you might want them, if you've got a favorite, it should be downloadable. Okay. And so you can download it, you can keep it forever, do whatever you guys want to do. And so it's just going to be an email link. And this will only be for, I don't know, a week or so or until we get things going, but who knows? Any questions so far? So you got the welcome email, so you know what we're going to be doing basically, but I wanted to state it out. You guys got it? No questions? Piece of cake? So it'll be a little odd at first, but we're just doing the same things. We're doing all good. We're doing the same thing. It's just that I'm going to email you a link. Later on, we'll have a web page where you'll go to your account, you'll go to a page, and you'll watch the recording in the web page. What email? Yeah. So I'm going to email you a link. I'm going to use Vimeo, something. So those of you who have one of those accounts, I don't know if you can integrate that into your own collection or not. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. We're going to have to find out a lot of little things technical wise as we roll. And so I appreciate your patience and we'll work it out. Any problems with anything, just email me or Wendy. We're going to handle it. One way or the other, we'll handle it, whether it's with billing or membership or getting the video or getting the link or whatever. Just email and we'll work it out. So there'll be a few kinks to start out, but no big deal. I don't want to lose sight of what we're doing, and I don't want to lose momentum of what we're doing. This is about trading. So we want to keep on that path without worrying too much. And I'm going to try to make the transition as painless as possible. And there's a lot of good people helping, like I said, Grace, and Edward, Gary's in there, Raj has offered, and I appreciate all of your offers, by the way. It's very nice. So we'll go from there. Hopefully we'll have the member part up, in a week or so, and things should roll smoother from there. And then, we'll finish the final touches on the website. I have a lot of interesting, cool ideas and cool things planned, and all sorts of things for us to create. This is going to be fun. So I have a lot more leeway now since it's our own house. Not going to overwhelm with a bunch of things, but just so you know, we got some things planned. Who knows? But basically, this is all about trading. It's practically just coming in here. I love to teach, and I love to see people blossom and grow, and I love to see people actually make something from the learning and do something themselves that's rewarding for me. And so we're always going to look for very grounded ways to keep doing that. Website stuff, it's going to come and go. We have to get through it. But we're going to be doing the same things. That's all. So for the next few days, we'll keep it kind of light. What I'd like to do for the next few days, so let me just remind you of the basic structure we're going to follow. We're going to build out several of these methods, okay? And we're going to do it live, and we're going to work it and create it and talk about it. And we're going to do a few presentations that lay the foundations for these methods. And so it's a structured sort of way of going about things. And you get to hear me babble about all this stuff too along the way, and the principles. But this is what we're going to do. Something in here just like this. And in the mix, we're going to work it on live markets. We're going to work it in the middle of, doing different things and just flowing with markets. I'm keeping the same basic style. Some lessons will be purely structural and technical in teaching. Some lessons will be just purely instructional like that. And it'll be a mix of, hey, this is interesting. We have to watch the yen right now like we've been doing. So nothing's really going to change there, but this is the direction we're going in. This is the overall direction. So nothing's really going to change. You're all in, Rebecca? That's good to hear. I love to hear that. So nothing's really going to change with the way we have been doing things. As you know, over the years, I've been getting a little more clarity on my own teaching. I've been evolving. And so as I learn more, my teaching becomes a little more clear, and ways that I can get things across become a little more clear. I'm never about any kind of dogma. The method is really kind of unimportant in the end. And we're going to talk a lot about that. The method is something we use and not be used by. And so we'll end up talking a lot about that. So we're going to try and keep things grounded and simple. No dogma. No, it has to be this way. No, it has to be that way. And you get the idea. You guys have heard me spiel forever. And as I get clearer, we invent together. And that's one of the things you guys have all offered me, is to be with me while, because I'm pretty obsessed with markets. I pretty much live them. It's where I make my bread and butter pretty much. But to tell you the truth, without the trading or without the teaching, my trading would not be at the level it currently is. I almost need you guys. My trading would not be at the level it currently is without the push and the teaching. So you guys know I'm always deep into this whole thing. So what we'll do for the next few days, and then we'll have Monday off. Hopefully we just start everybody fresh on Wednesday. And so these few days are just, let's get going. Don't worry about paying or any of that stuff. What we'll do is I want to work on before we go into frameworks and all that, I want to work on us setting a rhythm, developing a rhythm. We started that. We started that with the morning routine type of thing. We were just doing swings. We started that a couple weeks ago, and I have a lot more to say about that. So we're going to do that for the next few days, developing a rhythm, some sort of morning routine, something that we can, a light discipline. Anybody ever come to the chart in the morning and really know not what to do, or maybe have too many choices about what to analyze and what to draw and how to get started? Does that ever happen to anybody? You got too many choices because you don't have a fixed set way to go about it. You know what I'm talking about, Phil? Yeah. The hooded claw. Oh, that's interesting. Of course, often, huh? Well, yeah, right, Rebecca. So we want to develop some kind of discipline. We want to develop some kind of a routine that gets us connected to the market, because the connection is the whole thing. I'm going to use myself as an example today as we talk about this. And we're going to start with, we were just doing very simple as an analysis routine, following the swings, following the swings, following the mind. Okay, following it back, following it back, following it back, that kind of thing. Very simple, except I'm going to structure it with the instructions, and I'm going to add something to it. And maybe we'll work our way into an end of day thing as well. I have a few ideas for this, and you don't necessarily have to use the thing we developed with the reaction legs. There's other things you can use, but I do want to teach a few different ways we can go about this. It's very important to get connected to your market in some way. Otherwise, you come to the chart and you have a little bit of aversion to it. And then you just start throwing stuff at the wall, and it's haphazard. And one of the things we don't want in our trading is haphazard at all. We want freedom, but we don't want chaos. We don't want haphazard. And it's too easy to fall into that. So there's always a balance between discipline and freedom. Actually, discipline brings freedom. Too much discipline and you feel tight. Ugh. You don't really want to do it. It's like you're telling me what to do. Too much freedom and you're just all over the place and scattered. So we each are going to have our own personal thing when we come to the chart to get connected. I'm going to give some ideas about that. We're going to try to develop it and create it here. One of the things I do when I'll give an example of me this morning. And you guys have seen me do this. We'll just do this little exercise here. We'll just do it live. So I'll give an example of me this morning. And so this is a little exercise we can all do to get connected to the market, to focus ourselves. It's not necessarily for the trade. It's more of just getting in the rhythm. So I've been quite busy the last week or two, and luckily I had a few positions on last week that were working for me. One of them was in the yen. And so I didn't have to worry about trading too much. I didn't have to worry about trading too much this week because I had some positions that were just working. I could just focus. But I flattened out of all my positions now. And so now it's time to go back to work. And by the way, for those of you who have it a goal to, trade for your living and all that, keep in mind that these kind of things happen in life. Be careful what you ask for, because when trading is your main income, it doesn't matter if you're having a bad day or there's a death in the family or some kind of life thing happens. And when those things happen, you have to be careful about your trading because it can get all over the place. Somebody gets all kinds of upheavals, okay? There's no, you don't get a sick day here. And so it's a double-edged sword. You know, when you trade for your own thing by your wits, yeah, you know, there's some freedom in that. It's beautiful. But it's not like a job where you punch the clock. And it's not like you just know what to do every day. You have to come in and create every day. You have to discover every day. You have to bring your full attention to things every day. And that's not easy when things go on in life. And I can tell you this, things will always go on in life for all of us. And I understand that. So we have to have some ways to get us back on track. So using me as an example, I'll do a little exercise, just sort of a bar by bar reading price action exercise with you that I do. And I think it should be included in people's morning routines. So when I came to work this morning, I'm flat. It's time to come to work. I pull up my markets. I erase all my lines. That's how I start things. Now, the first thing I noticed was I didn't really want to look at charts. I didn't really want to I had an aversion to getting back in here and putting my butt on the line right away. I've been riding on two nice trades for, you know, over a week. And I know this happens to people. You kind of go blank, you kind of contract. You ever get to the chart and you just sort of have an aversion to doing it, even though you love trading? I know this isn't only me. Aaron, right? You ever get there and there's a subtle aversion to connecting yourself? Yes. Most of all, right? Evan, yes. Yeah, it's this feeling connection. There's and sometimes you'll notice we have it with people also. Almost all days. Good. So we do need to develop some kind of discipline for that. And we do this with people also. There's a little bit of an aversion of actually connecting, you know, heart to heart type of thing, because, you know, when you do that, you know, who knows what comes up. So there's always this subtle aversion to connection with price sometimes. I mean, it's all good in the good days when you've been having 3 good months in a row, then you're happy to come to work, right? You know, what if you've had a few bad days in a row, a few bad weeks in a row? Or you're just flat out tired, or you've had a busy week like I've had a busy week, and I didn't have to worry about putting my butt on the line for a trade all last week. I guess that's the best way to put it. I didn't have to worry about putting my own butt on the line, putting myself out there and risking anything, because I had some trades working. But guess what? I'm flat now. And so I come in this morning and all of a sudden I got to put my butt on the line. I'm teaching. I've got a little website going, right? All you guys are coming, but this isn't my pay. This'll pay for the website and some bills and stuff, but this isn't my living. I'm not here to make money building websites. I make my living, you know, trading. And so all of a sudden I got to put my butt on the line. Uh-oh. And I noticed an aversion. So what do? I know all the different things people do, by the way. Well, I go look at some of my emails because I know I got to check up on some of you guys. You know, I go look at some of my emails and make sure everybody's getting where they got to get, that kind of thing. Okay, and then I come back to the market and I still don't want to do it. All right, well, I got this thing I got to write. I got to write some legal stuff for the site. So I go and I write some legal stuff for the site, and I come back and I still see that these are all little subtle distractions we do to ourselves, so we don't have to make that connection. Now, I got my way, and you guys will all have your own way. You guys will all have your own way that you do it. Be aware of it. Most of all, what this site's about and what I'm about with teaching, it's all about learning, one way or the other. Learn from me, learn from price, learn from getting stopped out, learn from getting a good trade, blah, blah, blah. It's all about learning. That means you have to watch yourself, know the ways you distract yourself. I go back to email. Normally, my email does not open until afternoon. on a regular basis, but I got things going on because it is very distracting. So what do I do? Well, I have a little practice that I teach students, and I have a little practice that we do here once in a while. And that is just to go bar by bar and discover. The key is discover. We want to be in discovery because that brings us right up to date and present with things. We want to discover. It's as simple as that. So I'm not necessarily looking for a trade here. I'm looking to get myself back connected to where it's not me over here and them over there. And so that will take a little bit of discipline on my part. Hey, Claudia, what's going on, guys? How and when do we do this? Claudia, you want to go to meeting? You in the meeting? Here, I'll put up a link in Slack, and we'll tell them to get on board already. And then we can help Claudia out. All right, so you guys see the link? All right, so we'll go on. I'll just tell them to use the link. And so we need a little bit of a discipline to say, all right, we have to get on board with this thing. And so this is very simple. It's just sort of what I like to do, and I'll give you the exercise, is I'll grab the chart, and I'll pick a space, not too far from real time. I'll pick a spot not too far from real time, and I'll just go bar by bar until I can begin to get myself connected to price. So how do we do this? And I'm going to talk about this exercise in several different ways. I have a price key. That we've saved. And here's what we're going to do. This is all you need to really know about price action, because we're going to read the story of price bar by bar. This is just a little exercise. We're going to read the story of price bar by bar. And what we're going to do is look for hard up, look for tail up or down, outside bars, mirror bars, and gaps. Hey, Nate, we're just going to do a little bit of bar by bar to get ourselves connected to the market. Good to have you. I was talking about the next few days, we're going to set a rhythm of developing some sort of morning routine. And what I was talking about was myself this morning. I rode some trades last week. I didn't have to trade, and I'm flat now. I come in this morning, and I got to put my butt on the line again. And I didn't really want to do it. I didn't really want to make that connection to price. And so this requires something of a little bit of a discipline, a little bit of a routine, a little bit of a way to do it. There's lots of ways. This is one way. And so we're going to go bar by bar and read the story, discover the story that price is telling us. And so this is part of the language: hard up, hard down, tail down, outside bar. And it's not complicated. We don't have to memorize a whole bunch of things. It's not complicated at all. And when you get to doing it, I need to sort of give you some examples along the way about how to go about it, because it can get a little bit tricky. One of the things we tend to do with this is have expectations. We tend to have a lot of expectations, and it gets in the way of discovery. So this exercise is all about discovery, okay? It's all about discovery. So what I like to do is I'm going to grab this Aussie market, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to work it until I get live. And I'm going to go bar by bar, and all I'm going to do is be truthful about what I see. Now I want you to get something about this lesson. You don't have to predict. You don't want to get attached to expectations. Price should do this, price should do that. You want to discover. This is an important part about getting connected. I'll need to talk about this in a lot of ways, and I'm just going to do this as an example. So notice I got rid of the left, all right? I got rid of the right. I'm focused in a little bit, and all we want to do is put some true things on the chart, not expect them to work, not expect them not to work, but we want to get Price's story. And we want to take our time doing it. Because before I trade, I need to develop some sort of connection. In any relationship, before you talk, you want to develop some sort of connection. It's all the same thing. So notice how when I focus things in like this and like this, already our mind is starting to clear about all the things we need to do and put our butt on the line and trades and lines and what do I do now? And we can start to relax a little bit. Just look and let's see if we can get Price's story here using some of the basic language. So if you just look at this chart that I just sort of grabbed here, some of the things that should stick out for you are gaps. They're the easiest to see, right? And before I get started, right away, and then outside bars. See, we got an outside bar here. So right away, I'm already getting tuned. Right away, I'm already seeing the story. There's a story. Real buyers and sellers. It's telling the story of people. It's not just price. There's a story. Look at this gap. How do you mark a gap? Upper third. Ah, see that? Not a setup. With one little box, I'm seeing a story. How do I mark a gap? Bottom third. Ah, right away, without any prediction or anything else, do you guys feel that we made a top, we came off, we tried, we broke, we retested? This is factual. We came back, we retested again. This is a real level of sellers. It's telling us this story. Don't expect this exercise to go anywhere but getting you connected. But I can tell you one thing about this particular exercise. If you do this with the intent of discovering, and you do this over and over, even though you might not get an immediate trade, there is learning that is getting soaked into your nervous system. There's learning that's getting soaked into your bones. It's soaking you like a mist. And although it might not get you the trade, there's subtle learning going on just by you sitting here and doing this. Yeah, and eventually Phil knows the idea. At some point your mind clears and a trade might fall in your lap, but we're not after that, right? I guess that's why they call it price discovery. Yes. And this is why we call it price discovery, Nate. We want to discover price. Price is discovering its true supply and demand. And I always love the word discovery. And we want to discover that minus our knowing. You see, if I start out with a bunch of lines, I'm knowing something. I'm missing that connection. I'm not allowing price to do what it wants to do. This is the direction I've taken things in, this subtle shift in the way we think and see things. Because that's the whole show in the end. We'll learn the methods, but the whole show is for us to unclog our minds a little bit and see what's there. Listen, with this one box, it was possible to make decisions. You see that? It was possible to come in here Monday and go like this. And not guess. Not guess. See, I haven't even started the exercise yet. And you can see the learning that's going on. I haven't even started the exercise yet. And this is the learning that's going on. Nate says a great example of making training simple, not easy if we have a bias, but it's simple, right? What I'm doing, Nate, here is giving the how-to discipline to work to simple. And it isn't a good example. And I just don't want to leave it at an example, Nate. I want to leave it at, we can all do this as a practice. The only thing that turned in here to all of a sudden turn this simple was I kind of grabbed the rhythm and slowed everybody down and said, let's just look at this. Now, maybe this does you no good for a trade right now, but guess what? Just by doing this yourself, this little piece will soak into your bones. It will add to your experience, your real experience. Just by doing it, you'll slowly add up the different ways that price moves. And by the way, it is through this exercise that I've come up with all the price action work that I've come up with. I started from a blank slate. I was not taught this by anybody. There was nobody really teaching it, although some of the patterns are the same. This is how I came up with, a tail is this, and then a tail can be a mountain, and all that stuff we teach. This is how I did it, and this stuff soaks in. And then boom, at some point, you get this really crazy realization that it can be simple, and it should be simple. That was the clincher for me when I got that it should be simple. When we start drawing lines and predicting, we're all worried about being perfect, and that will throw us out of harmony. And so what we'll do is discover. Now, discovery is a scary thing because we don't know what's going to happen, and we all want to know the statistics and predictions and what works so we know what's going to happen. I'm going to keep going against that every day because it does not play out for trading. So we can develop something to get this kind of connection. Everybody here knows how to do this. I know all you guys, okay? We've done gaps. Everybody here knows how to draw these two boxes. But, if you're like this, maybe you have to slow down and let your brain absorb how it absorbs. So right now, we want to approach this with the intent. Price is telling a story. Let's see if we can get it. With these two boxes, I can make an easy decision to go short or to go long, and I would not be guessing. It might not be the perfect trade, but I would not be guessing, and that's very important. So let's go do the exercise. So we're watching. There's a drama unfolding here, and you just watch inside bar. And all you have to do with this exercise is just describe the truth of what's there. That's all. That's it. And so I'll go bar by bar, and this is what I did this morning. Okay, we're testing the gap. Testing the gap. We've zoomed the gap. That's it. Just say this out loud to yourself as you do this. All right, we've tested the gap. This guy held. We've now zoomed the gap. We have a little tail there. And as we go, if you want, you can mark these things. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you mark something, we're going to mark gaps, tails, or swings, or whatever. Whenever you mark something, don't expect it to work or not work. Watch price in relation to your marking. This is one of the tricks to the exercise, because if you expect it to work, you're going to get your feelings hurt. This is an exercise I teach in some detail to private students over months. And so we're going to keep doing some of it here because it takes a lot of talking and seeing how people are doing it and all that. But it's such a good exercise for learning. So I'm not doing anything complicated. I'm not looking at too much. I'm not guessing. I'm not expecting this to hold or not to hold. I'm just describing, all right? Lower low, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Look, these are all swings. I'm just describing. Boom, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Coil. Not quite a gap, but a wide range bar. Trying to make a swing. Trying to swing up. Hard down. Everybody feel the story here? Everybody get the, okay, we tried to go up, we tried, I mean, look at that. Everybody get that? Look at the red, right? Everybody get that? These are real live buyers and sellers. To me, this is more exciting than watching a movie. Money's being made, money's being lost, people are getting stopped. See that? This thing just gave up. Watch. See, it's a swing, trying. This thing just said, no, we ain't gonna do that. And so we ask questions. What happens next? Is this going to make a new low? New low. There's a whole different tenor to things. Feel this big bar going up. Can't hold. We curl around. Another big wide range bar. We try. There's a give up here. We're making a new low. These people are giving it up. And so we watch. We observe this. We can mark these things. This is a bit of a gap, so we can come in here and do this. It's not a most beautiful gap, but it's a very nice give up. And don't worry if your markings are off or not. We're just going to watch price in relation to it. Testing. So price made a new low. It's now testing. Zoom. Boom. Zoom. Everybody get that? Zoom. We just reversed this new low. Just like this. Look at the size of this bar. See, there's a feeling behind this. It's bigger. It's bigger than everything. Now, would you notice that that bar is bigger than everything if you were rushing through this mechanically just to get things going, or throwing a bunch of lines on the chart wondering what setup you should plug in? You would miss this. This is one of those little details that lead to what people call intuition, lead to reading a market. This stuff needs to soak in your bones. And even if you don't recognize it, you'll start to pay attention to things like this by doing this kind of exercise. And we're just reading price with a few bars. We're ignoring all the little nothing bars, and paying attention to gaps, big tails, big outside bars. So this tells a story here. And then you want to get curious. Does this swap hold? They're testing. They're testing. They're testing. They're testing. They're coming off. They have a tail. See, look at this, all within a few bars. All within a few bars, we found a neighborhood. I want you to get that you can read this story, whether you're trading it or not. This is not trading. This is understanding the story. I want you to get that price just made a new low and swapped, and it's now holding. This is the fact check. Somebody is actually here. It's very objective. It's very objective. Kind of dull testing the line, kind of dull testing the line. So now we're trying to swing. I'm just describing. Now, even this, right? You can see there's a subtle shift in things starting with that bar. There's a subtle determination. Everybody see the subtle determination? How do we know? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Yeah, Grace. And this also can possibly end up being a press if it expands. But there's a subtle shift right here. We did the yen live talking about how to see a subtle shift in price, and you guys watched me do it. And you know, it's unique every time. But rather than just learning the secret pattern for the subtle shift, you do a practice like this. And if you do this today, and then you do this maybe next Tuesday, and you do it next Friday, and you'll see this again. And it'll, oh yeah, I saw that happen in the session. I saw Shane look at that. Oh yeah, he taught that. Oh yeah, I've seen this last week. Oh, this happened to my last trade. And then boom, you just learned something. Whether you could immediately use it or not, learning will take place. It's like riding a bicycle, you know, your body's learning all of the different impulses and firing neurons it takes to keep balance. So by doing this exercise, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. Your body's learning, not your mind. Your body's learning. Your nervous system's learning. Your bones are learning. And it soaks in over time. I know this can be a tedious thing, but it sure beats coming to a chart haphazardly, drawing a bunch of junk, and looking to plug in what works. This isn't for everybody, I get it. But if you go that route of trying to plug in what works, you'll be chasing your tail for a long time, and you'll come back to me a year or two later and want to learn this. So let's do it now. So you watch and you get curious. Now, whenever I do this exercise, and this is what I always warn people, because you know how many times I've seen this over and over. So I'll draw this, and I'll expect that to hold. And you want to back that expectation off, because if it doesn't hold, I'll get my feelings hurt and learning will stop. And so you'll see the expecting to hold or expecting to work happen. It's going to happen to you. I'll tell you right off the bat. Just notice it and back it off and go back to discovery. The discovery brings us present with what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with expectations. We run into a problem when we become attached to the expectation working. Pressure builds up on top. Yeah, and so you want to see these little things. And how I'm describing it, you might have a different way, John, right? Or somebody might have a different way in their experience. Just be factual. And whatever line you draw, and it can be slope lines, by the way. This exercise unfolds into a lot of things. I'm doing it a particular way today. Just be factual with what price is doing with that particular reference point. I can trade based on this right now and nothing else. But guess what? When I get this, and then maybe I get sellers, then I'll see that pressure, John, and I'll see who gets beat. And boom, the trade falls in my lap, like Phil said. So if I get this to the upside, and then I keep working the chart, and I find some sellers pushing it to the downside, I'll see the pressure. I'll find the places where the real battle is taking place, not some technical analysis nonsense. I'll see because I learned for myself where the real battle's taking place, and then I can choose to go with one or the other, or I can wait for one of them to get beat. And now I'm making, it's not an entire way to trade, but I got to tell you, it's a more intelligent way to go about it than we normally do with all our complications. So we're reading. So back off your expectations because we get attached to them. And it's the same thing when we're trading. We get attached to something working. We get attached to having a good week. We get attached to having a good trade. And it's that attachment, if you notice it over and over and over, it's something you need to protect. And it causes a whole bunch of, your mind going, ooh, and I can't see nothing. And I get to the chart and I go, huh? So we watch, all right? Nothing really exciting, we're just watching. Okay, we're testing factually these buyers. We're testing, we're going through them a little bit. We're still testing. Now my zone, it might be off a little bit, doesn't really matter. If I get a solid zoom through here, then this becomes an area that's, really interesting. Ah, they're here. See, just this little piece, this swap and this, imagine this was a big 200 tick swing. Okay, guys? Imagine this was a big 200 tick swing and you were thinking about getting long and putting stops. And you were going for new highs. Same thing. So don't discount this because, so what? It's an Aussie, it's a few ticks. This can be a big monthly chart. And I might be doing something like, I might be doing something like this and thinking, okay, here I'm not going to have the risk reward, but that doesn't change this pattern. See, that's what I learned. That's how I learned to see a gap swap, by doing what I'm doing here over and over and over and over. Okay, we're testing highs. Got a big bar, we're coming back, testing. See, right here, I've got this funny feeling that we've just rolled over. Yeah, we're trapped in between this line and this line, aren't we, John? So I got this feeling that we just rolled over here, right? We didn't make it. But screw my feeling. Stick to what's true. See, I'm going to notice my feeling. My mind's going to go do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But I want to see what happens. See, once I start going do-do-do-do-do-do-do, I've left discovery and I went to knowing. Here we go. We're going down, right? So we're testing these buyers. So, if you want, you can make a little adjustment if you want. Testing these buyers. We got a tail right here. We're coming down. No, we're coming back up. Ah, so they hold again. Retesting. Boom. So let me tell you what I personally learned about this. See, this isn't about anything other than learning. Here's what I personally learned about this. I learned that just because I had a rounding top, right, which is pretty famous in the books, and just because they gave it the college try to go lower. But follow me, Nate, because I know you've learned this too. Here's what I learned about this lesson. I relearned just now myself. That will go into my next 1,000 trades. I learned that although this looked really ugly, and although it made one attempt at a swing and then came back, we saw this in the ES the other day, that just because it did that doesn't mean that the swing is over. That's what I just learned. Do you guys follow me on that? How many times have we have you guys done this? You've watched the market, okay? You're going to get long. You get long, it starts and you go, hooray, right? You get long, it starts, and then it starts to roll over and you go, oh crap. How many times have we done that? Because you're all hooray here, and then when it starts to roll over, you go, oh crap, but nothing in the buyers have actually changed. And so I learned just now that price can do that and then have it go. So I learned that just now. It's a type of contraction. Too many, Phil. So Phil knows what I'm talking about. This is kind of subtle, but how many times? Because I know what a lot of people do. Let's say you pull off an entry here. The minute you get a few ticks, what are you doing? A lot of people are going to BE. I like Edward's style with this. Edward puts his stop. He's got a routine, and he says, let the market take me out. That's what I like. He has a set routine, right? He's not going to move his stop until he gets somewhere near 2 to 1, I think. And then he says, let the market take me out. And so his discipline will keep him from bailing right here. And so he knows himself to a certain level, and he is good with applying that discipline because he has learned the hard way the same thing I'm learning right now. That price will, maybe it's not going to go right away. If he doesn't, his trading dominatrix takes the whip to him. Yeah, your account will take the whip to you for sure. That's how you know. But I just learned that. That's the thing. See, this isn't a pattern I'm teaching. It's something I just discovered and relearned again. And you guys need to see things like this. And it's this kind of exercise that will bring that out. So anybody that comes to this site expecting just to learn the mechanical setup is going to be disappointed. I want people who want to learn seriously to be here. I want people who want to be here to be here. I'm never going to try and hard sell anybody. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. But we are taking a different tact at things, a real tact. And John, right, John? Effort reversed. Exactly. Effort reversed. But this one still gets me to this day, John, when it rolls back over like that after you've had a hurrah moment. This one still twinges me when it happens. But I have a discipline. But guess what? Sometimes I've learned to play the bump gift. And we do have a particular pullback pattern that takes advantage of this. We haven't done this one in a while, but it's the contracting pattern. We have a particular bump gift contracting pattern that takes advantage of this kind of thing. So if this was a major chart and an actual trade, then boom, you're in, you're looking to get out at a new high and then, reset yourself. See, this could be a 1,000-tick monthly chart. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm not teaching a setup. I'm teaching, look what we just learned from drawing a simple friggin' box. And I say friggin' like that because I have to remind myself how simple things can be. I'm still learning too. I have to remind myself how simple things can be. Because the more you know, the more you got to back yourself up. Especially you guys who have gotten really good with price action and really good with lines. You got to be the most careful with this kind of thing. All right, so let's follow this out to live so we can work. So I can tell you one thing. We got buyers in here. And you'll see me do this exercise in many ways. You're going to have to see me do it in many ways. I'm just kind of curious now because I can't do anything. We got to get to live. I'm kind of curious where this is going to stop. Somewhere in the gap, up here, I'm kind of curious. See, maybe this tail? I'm curious. See my curiosity? That's what I want people to bring to their trading overall. See, this is a stupid little chart. I'm not teaching any technique, but there's a lot of learning going on. Okay, so price backs up. I'm watching it now. Lower low, lower low. Do 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 do. I know presses. If you don't know presses, don't worry about it. I know presses off the top. This has got a feeling to it. Watch. Yay! Okay. Okay, see the tail? Good. See the tail testing? Watch. We have this tail, and it's testing. I get my colors right. Oh, by the way, I'm going to do an Ensign video soon on how I set my colors and lines up, a basic thing that we'll put up on the site. So I'm just marking. It doesn't have to be a correct marking or not, but this qualifies as a tail that opens and closes in its upper third. You know, if you want to do this, that's fine. But watch, does everybody feel right now that the market is swinging up? Everybody, if we just did swings, it's swinging and trying. You see that, Grace? Everybody feel, if we know nothing else, that the market's swinging up. Now, this is what I mean by discovery, Evan. So we watch, it's swinging up. It's still trying to swing. It's in process. It doesn't know what it wants to do yet. It's swinging. I'm edge of my seat. Okay, we're easing down. Still got a tail. We're easing down. They're pressing it now. You feel it? They're pressing it now. I don't know what happens. All I know is the sellers are making lower lows, lower highs. We are not doing this anymore. So I watch. They're retesting this whole neighborhood, whether it's a press or a tail. Ah, we just found people. There you go, John. We found a set of sellers and we found a set of buyers. These guys seem to be a little bit stronger right now, but there is no doubt because we just made new lows. Tail, outside bar, down, down. Feels like it's over, but I got one basic question here. What happens next? Do we break these guys? See, right here when it's coming down, this is where people are freaking out and I'm asking questions. So this is how I was watching this market live this morning. And then I'm looking for wherever sellers are. Okay, buyers are still here for now. Now what happens next? Oh, let's get live. Now we're pulling back. That's an interesting tail. And so this is going to be kind of curious for me. Similar size pullback, right? So you're already learning things, John, right? You're seeing these things. It's a similar size, it's a similar size pullback. Maybe not exact, but look, you see the orderliness of this? And generally what I do after I do this little exercise is I delete everything. So now I'm ready to think about, how I'm going to map this market, how much data I'm going to use. If I'm using a lot of data, then I'm going to quickly, do something like this. But if I'm not using a lot of data, whenever I get a weird gap like this, and it happens on Sunday, I'm just going to draw my line from here. And this will help me think about whether I want to pull off a trade here or not. And so maybe my trade happens immediately, but just me getting connected to this market, maybe my trade happens tomorrow. See, I do maybe 3 to 4 trades a week, sometimes a little more, but maybe my trade happens tomorrow. But before I do it, I want to get a good handle on the different buyers and sellers who are in control of this market. So right now we're looking at this, and I can feel the battle going on, and I can feel it trying to make some little swings. I'm not predicting, I can feel it trying to make some little swings. And we can be a little creative with this and watch this, and you can see it's basically doing like that. So we've made a major low, boom, and then we get to here. So as long as we're doing this exercise, let's just keep with this exercise, and we'll do our swing work on Friday. All right, so as long as we're doing, let's do some more. Let's do some more, because I need to get connected to markets. I need to get, if you just keep the whole thing about discovery, I can give you a actual example that came from while I was working with a student, and I couldn't help myself. I ended up putting a small position on. I said, you got to stop. I got to do something. Because it popped, and it wasn't because I knew the secret. It was because I was teaching, and I was having to be connected. We were working this Euro Swiss 120 market, and I want everybody to see that it's possible for them to get hooked in and actually read this. Hey, Ricardo, a sell at 6885 would be a prediction. I mean, at this point, really quickly, if you sold in here, you just want to know what you're doing, okay? You'd want to know, Ricardo, and all trades are going to be some sort of extrapolation, all right? All of them. You're predicting in some way, okay? But we don't want to guess at what we're trying to do. So all trades are going to be some kind of prediction, but we want to know what we're about. So Ricardo's asking and thank you for the question, if we get here and we sell, what's going on? Well, first thing you want to do is you want to know what you're doing, okay? Whether you're selling into buyers or back and forth. So the first thing you want to know is that you are going to be selling up against a tested level. Good. You're also going to be what, Nate? You're also going to be selling in a market that's swinging up if you sell that. So we want to know what we're about. Now, if we're looking at this big swing, I'm all good for your sells. But the problem with this, if you sell here, it's possible that price can still come up a ways and turn. And so if you decide to sell this, you're selling with these sellers against swings making higher highs and higher lows. And so if you want to do that, go for it. And you can start, it's kind of hard to draw any downsloping lines from here with this chart. The best you could do would be maybe like, maybe this, right? That's a good line. Now, Ricardo, if price gets here, right? So we've diced this out. This is a good question. So this is like we're really going to trade right now. So if price gets here and it shows us something really, really interesting, like maybe a big, huge tail or maybe a little swing broken, then I'm going to sell right along with you here. See, we don't know what's going to happen. But right now, you want to know the facts. If you sell this, you're selling that contraction we talked about. You're selling a market going like this and then doing like this. You're trying to sell that, just like we talked about. I'm not saying don't, but now we're putting a whole picture together. So let's say we got rid of this, all right? Let's say we just uncomplicate it and we got rid of this and we just did this. It's not really going to give us a 3-to-1, but we can keep an eye on this. Now, if this guy does happen to show us something, this is what we're all about. We want price to tell us. If this guy shows us something, then yeah. But you see, that's not predicting, is it, Ricardo? If we get up here and then you look for what? Maybe some of the pivot requirements we talked about, and price does that. So if we get up here and maybe price does, something along these lines, does a gap swap or an outside bar and a tail, and then, oh, now price is telling me, now you're really not in the realm of prediction. Does that all kind of make sense, how we're actually dicing out a trade or a trade idea, rather than saying, I got a line, I got a test, and I got a retest, and I got a statistic. You understand? You saw the same size swing span at 69.30. Okay, just take it all into account and let price tell you, but know what you're doing. I'm not against selling it, but if you sell a lot of things against, this is very typical of a market, guys. A market goes like this. It makes a new low, and then it starts this little grind, okay? Very typical. It makes a new low. It starts this grind. That's what this market is doing. It's made a big low, and now it's starting this grind. And what you'll find if you keep selling these over and over a lot of times, it will grind you into dust and then roll. Perfect notes to put on a trade plan. Why did I say something good, Nate? Know what you're about. And these kind of things, this exercise helps us learn these little experiences. Ricardo's? Oh yeah, no, so Nate's saying put those notes on your chart. Maybe, keep a journal and all of that and put those notes on your chart. Maybe if you're not too certain about things, note your chart and keep following. And remember, this is your money. This is your money. And so you can get grinded to dust doing this kind of a thing. Trying to keep selling it while it's grinding up here. So this is good. We'll keep an eye on this guy live. And you know what? If it sends me a telegram right there, I'm all for it. Okay, I'm all for it. Now I want everybody to see that they can personally read. Okay, this is something I did with a student. We just grabbed this market. We were going to work together. And I got connected. Yeah, Ricardo, you can send me what you saw. That's good. Or you can even post it in the Slack here. So look at the swings. Can you guys see swings? We have swings. About the same size? About the same size. Okay. Got a set of sellers here. I'm just looking at the gap. Got a set of sellers here. See, with one box and a swing, I framed up this market. And Nate, we also bring up an important point on that Aussie chart. Don't force it, right? If it just is not making sense to you and everything's kind of mushy, don't force it. Let it unfold a little bit until you get it, okay? Don't force it. The Aussie chart might not be right for you. You don't have to be on this exact move right now. There'll be more trades, I promise. So I'm working this one with a student. I want everybody to see with just some simple things we've learned that we can read price. You know, we can read price. So we know we've got this little shallow swing down. We've run into buyers. And are we going, see, here's my question now. Look at this excitement here. And if you are attuned at all to the presses, you know, I'm using the language I know to read the story. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to read the story. I'm using the language I know, not for a setup, but to read the story. I'm going to have to say this in like hundreds of ways over and over and over and over all year long. But I'm trying to read the story that price is telling me. And that's what these structures are for. So if I see this press, this is a press. We all learned how to do this. Maybe you new guys didn't learn yet, but this is a press. This is a swing, same size swing, expand. Everybody see how I did that? It fits the definitions that we came up with. It's a swing, it's a same size swing, and it's expand. Now we call this particular structure a press structure, and it's a good one to learn. The press structure will come with, you know, the 3 types of trade options. But more importantly, it tells you some significant thing about buyers and sellers pissing on the fire hydrant and marking their territory. You can see it. And all you have to do when you see this is draw a line. Make a zone out of it. Now, of course, you have choices to do a type 1, type 2. See where type 2 would come, right? Or type 3. Everybody see that? Can anybody argue with the objectivity of our lesson that we did on presses? Same size swing, expand. Very objective, very focused. You just need to learn to see it. Same size swing, and they pressed them off the cliff. Okay. Now, this one thing alone, without anything, I can trade with this alone. We'll be going over these lessons again, but more importantly, we're going to watch. Zoom, whenever I see a bar, zoom, gap, I've got me a good level. I've got it. One structure creates the next. See them? Boom, 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 zoom back through. Okay, so I've got a good level. Why is this important? Because when it comes to trading decisions, I want to know, just like Ricardo asked, I want to know. Are they holding? They make a little swing. Everybody here can also see, you know, this gap, this one, and these tested sellers. Do we make a new low? Not really. It's just playing around down here. But right here, I don't know how I'm going to use this, or if I'm going to use this, or what I'm going to do, or if I'm going to get short, or if I'm going to get long. I really got no clue. No clue. No idea. Feel the excitement in this bar. Gap into sellers. Oh, look, this is something I didn't even notice. See? I don't even need this. Look at that. into sellers. It all fits though. I don't know what you're thinking now, but what you guys get a feel of this? I thought it would go through, but now look at it. Testing the press. Do we have a swing? Yeah, we have a swing. Is this a pullback? It's a pullback. What's this guy's job now? This guy's got a job to do. See, it went like this, went like this, went like this, went like this, and it's got a job. New highs, right, Phil? It's got a job to do to make new highs. It's got a job to do. Okay, we're coming up into new highs. We're trying. This is very important. So I'm using this minor situation, Ricardo. Here's what I'm going to use Ricardo here since you brought it up. I'm using this minor situation and watching it also in the context of, you know, a bigger low. And I'm kind of curious what happens here. I don't know. Do we bust through? If I wanted to be long, I had to be long here. So I watch. I don't know. Starting to eat through it. And so you get an idea of what kind of things happen. Now just do your swing work, guys. Just do your swing work. We went from going up and now we're starting to go down. You just need to be doing your swing work in here to start to get an idea. Did it really take this out? No, not yet. So I'm watching swing still. Boom, Telegram. What do you want to do now? Look at it, get the story, feel it right here. Now, let me just add. You can add a line, you can put it there, or you can use the width. Either way, you can put it there, or you can use the width of the thing. That press marked the center of that move beautifully. That's not a telegram, that's an air raid siren. Well, if you're this connected to price, you see the area that was where the decision would be made, right, Nate? You kind of get that? You see the area where if it was going to go, it was going to go from here. And then when it does this, do you get that air raid siren, Nate? Does anybody else get that? That if it was going to say, I don't know, let's find a line that works. And by the way, there's your median line, right? If it was going to go up, and there's no way we could have predicted that. It's gettable, okay? It's gettable, Grace. Does anybody not see it? So now I'm adding a lot of lines to it, but that's gettable. Why? Because we were able to draw this press. And now we see that the market has really turned and doing a swing. Have the sellers stepped down from the green box? They might have, yeah, they might have stepped down from here. Maybe, see, this was actually your first clue, John. It's subtle, but when you get that excitement, and it's hard for me to get this across, when you get that excitement and it turns immediately, but then it holds and they have a little more trouble, but it holds and they they give up. What tail on the right, Grace? You see a tail on the right? This one? Yeah, this one gives up. That's on the left. But either way, this multi-pivot line that was holding, and look at the size of that. This is your clue to the market, and there is no way for me to predict that. I actually put my trade on before all this because it just was so easy to me. But I want everybody to see that you could read that. You can read that. You can read that we were trying and it actually turned itself right in here. It turned itself. Type 2, yes, right? Off the press. It turned itself because you have the ability to read buyers and sellers. You saw it turn itself. This is such an exciting thing, guys. It's such, you saw it pull back and you saw it, when you get this on a chart, it's such a satisfying thing between a trade where you were given a special technique and it's not really yours and it's a setup and you look up the probabilities but when you get this, even if you turn around and get stopped out on your trade, it's still satisfying because you read the markets. You actually did it. You read what people say can't be done. And all you did was use certain pieces in the language of price to read the battle pressure between buyers and sellers. Now, anybody have an entry? Oh, anybody have an entry idea now? Let's say you want to get short. What technique might you use for an entry? The gap base, John? So John's saying the gap base, like that. So just have orders waiting and see the effort, put your stop above all that effort. Does that make sense? And Grace says the last swing broke. Okay, that would be this guy or this guy, that kind of thing. And so you'd be doing it again. Huh? Do you see the rhythm, Grace? See that? Isn't that exciting? You see how you just found rhythm where people say it's impossible? Look at that. I was going to go to this, Grace. I didn't even think about that one. See, this didn't take this out decisively, so I might have been scared to get short here, but I would say we're getting a little more decisive. Inconceivable. So now we have an entry technique. You know, if you want to get all fancy, you know, you can do like this and draw a sliding parallel. Wait for a test on it. But you know what? Whenever you draw a line in midair like that, you just wait for a test on it. It's so arbitrary. It's almost stupid. It's just arbitrary. I mean, you want to see how price acts in relation to it. If it holds it, if it zooms it, that kind of thing. But just to draw a line and, you know, wait for a touch, I see more people get in trouble like that. But this is a legitimate way to draw. I think we've got price pretty much decent. You can even see a little bit of some overshoots and undershoots going on. But either way, look at John, how simple. You don't need that, right? Gaps, draw the gap. And look, it's making new lows. And you might not get hit. It might just keep going, or you might get hit. You know, you might not ever get into it. Either way. But this is how you can read a market. And then, you know, there's the magic lines, you know. You can read a market and see what it's doing. And everything we just did up here, we can now do down here live. Start with the easy. Pick 2 gaps, pick 3 gaps, pick the gaps, guys. Let's just do this live. We're going to work live. It is a beauty, Nate, and the beauty is the simplicity of it. Has nothing to do with me. The only thing that I am doing is I'm coming up with techniques so you can see the beauty. You can see some of the same beauty I see. That's all. It's not in the method. It's not in the gap swaps. The beauty is in personally being able to see it, and it's such a satisfying thing, even if you get stopped out. So Let's do this market live. What sticks out? Start with the gaps. What happened? Gap. Oh, they hold. What happens next? New low. Huh. Do you see another gap? Hold. What happens next? You guys got to play now. Make me do all the work. Nothing's changed. I'm not gonna do all the work now just because it's my own site. Forget about it. I'm gonna try and do less work actually. New low. Do we see another gap? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Here, you know, I'd like to even include maybe the whole tail in here, but there. You're seeing a pattern in the market. So when price gets up here live, if price gets up here live, oh, okay. Now let's just check the swings. Have to fudge it a little bit. Maybe they're not. I don't think they're quite that close. But the gaps are doing it. You know, don't force things. Don't force things. There. Now let me ask you this: is this picture I just did this just change your whole experience from looking at price down here with this line? Did what I just do change your whole outlook on this market when we zoomed in? It did, Grace, right? You know, you saw something a little, you saw it in a different way? Yes. And so that's kind of what I want you to pay attention to. So when we looked at it like this, it produces a certain feeling. Oh, it's too low. I can't really do anything. I might do this, I might do that. But when we tuned in and I did this, all I did was get rid of some of that. You can learn to do it with a lot of data, but as a practice, you know, start like this. And work it. As a practice, start like that and work it. And so now, thank you, I've just done my work, some of my work on the Euro Swiss 120 minute. And so when it gets up here, I'm going to be really, really curious about what happens because this changed my experience of it also. So today's session was about getting in tune with price and a few techniques that we need to talk quite a bit about. And we're going to keep things in this light manner, not too instructional until we get started on next Wednesday. If you want to practice this little exercise and then have me go back over it Friday, let's pick something. Let's pick something we're not really doing. Here, I grabbed a Euro Daily, guys. You know, here's what I want you to do in the background. This is a Euro Daily chart. If you watch it from here, it produces a certain feeling. But what I'd like you to do is, as a learning exercise, okay? As a learning, what I'd like you to do is maybe back the chart up to here, January. Actually, that's a good start, right? It started something at the beginning of the year. Yeah, look at, but I don't want you to look at the volatility squished down, Nate. I want everybody to practice this little exercise because it's easy when I do it because I've got a lot of practice. And I haven't had a chance to give you a lot of instruction. But grab this Euro Daily if you have the data, get rid of the left, and see for yourself if you can read price's story with using swings, gaps, and go bar by bar and discover. And see if you can find the areas Okay, see if you could find the multi-pivot. See if you can find the places where there's a battle being taken place. Just look for a lot of retests and see if you can find the places where, see that? See, 30 seconds I did that. I get this. I'm ready to freaking trade now this thing. But I want you to back it up to this outside bar, 31st, and go bar by bar and walk it through in a similar way. Don't worry about if you're right or wrong. I'm never worried about that. Don't worry if you're messing it up. All I'm worrying about is the effort that you make. I want you to practice imperfection, by the way. You're never going to get this all right. So just don't worry about if you can't see it or you're having trouble. Just do it. Go bar by bar and describe to yourself. Ignore the little stupid stuff. If you see something interesting, mark it. If you go like this, it doesn't hold, but it washes. Oh, that's an interesting level. Mark it and walk it through bar by bar. God, I knew I could have took that trade. Damn. And when you say that in your exercise, stop yourself because you want to go back to discovery. You see how excited I get when I saw that, oh my God, I could do that now. But walk it through and we'll walk it through live, and who knows, maybe we'll place a trade on this daily at some point. I doubt it will be tomorrow, but that's it. So thank you, Ed, and thank you guys for being patient with me. We've got a little rough start here today. We got to get in the swing and rhythm of things. And we're going to be light like this for a few days. Thank you, Rita. So take this out to live. The main thing I wanted you to get is let's find a way to get connected to our market rather than haphazard. We're not going to get this all in one lesson, but this is the direction I'm working towards, guys. All right. So this was just a little example that you can practice as a how-to thing, and we'll tighten it up. We'll tighten up. Thank you, Gracie, Phil. I appreciate everybody here. Thank you. I have gratitude for you guys. Thank you guys for coming. We're going to make this whole thing an interesting learning place for all of us. Thanks, Ricardo. You guys take care. I will be emailing you a link to the recordings. All right. If you have problems, just email me. Appreciate that, Edward. All right. So we'll see you guys on Friday, and then we'll have Monday off.